Thank you. Thank you. My name is Kelly Van Horn, and I'm one of the educators that was on the ballot this March in the primary. I did not win. I fought hard for education, but it did give me an idea to do an educator scorecard. I've heard from legislators that members that they actually pay attention to the scorecards that other groups have been doing, um, and it holds them accountable for their votes. So the educational scorecard will be reviewed. The General Assembly will be reviewed on how they vote on legislation that is important for education of our North Carolina students in public schools. So it'll be 3 days that I'll be reporting to you. This is nonpartisan, so it's not tied to any party. It's strictly on voting record and attendance. So Mondays will be the weekly bill and agenda. Wednesdays, there's a Google form that I'll share out. It's called Wednesday Whistle Shout Out. And Friday will be weekly progress reports. So on Fridays, those progress reports will be grading for the entire General Assembly. To be proficient, they must pass a North Carolina state budget. So they will be getting a progress report every Friday. And hopefully, we'll be very excited when they pass a budget. Um, there will be weekly stickers and thank yous will be emailed or posted on social media to members of the General Assembly that vote yes on funding public schools, also to community members and other people if we get their names. If not, it'll just be a general shout out. Thank you for being there. And I will also contact senators and my North Carolina House of Rep Tricia Cotham on any no votes on education bills. I can't contact everybody in the legislature all by myself. You are more welcome to join me in this campaign by contacting me. And tutoring requests, if there's something that we don't quite understand or how they got to, we can ask a tutoring request that they can explain it to us. So on this page here, we have the rubric for reviewing our General Assembly. Try to make it as nonpartisan and objective as possible. So going on our teacher scales on how we're evaluated. So if they do not pass a budget that week, they cannot get higher than needs improvement, which is 2 out of the 4 stars. So below standards. That would be improvement is necessary and expected. We do not at this point. We hope they pass a budget, but we've heard that they're not. So that would be below standard. And that's not acceptable. Now, in North Carolina, 2 out of 5 in our grade book, we cannot put a 50. We have to put a 60. And 60's passing. Well, actually, we put a 50, but normally they have us put a 59 or a 60, and 60's passing. So, well, we know needs improvement would be 2 out of 4 stars. That's actually for us would be a 60. That's just barely squeaking by. Unsatisfactory would be significantly below standards. That is no budget is passed and they don't even talk about it. Like it doesn't even come up in sessions. They meet 3 days a week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So it should come up. If it doesn't come up at all, if the North Carolina budget does not come up at all, that would be a 1 star. Seriously, that is no effort made, no data available. Now, if there is a needs improvement or unsatisfactory, we can ask for tutoring, we can ask for help, we can ask them. I did send out some emails on if anybody had online office hours. I have not found that out yet from our legislator, but I did ask. Proficient would be they meet the standards, the performance is satisfactory, that's if they pass the budget, and represents expected level of rigor. So that means kind of like not putting a lot of pork in it. The bill is what it says it is. Um, but there's probably something that slid in there. Exemplary would be exceed standards. The performance is such a high level, it could be as a model for other states. You know, it'd be great if our state could be a model for other states. That would be awesome. So this is the rubric we're going on. Again, if no budget is passed, they can only get needs improvement. And there'll be a scorecard every week. Now, the goal of this rubric is for the end, when we go to midterms, we hopefully Our legislature will be proficient at the midterms, and we'll be using the voting records of individual um, General Assembly, senators, and House of Rep, and see what their record is on education bills as they come up in this session. Thank you. Oh, so I had wanted to explain this again. So this is a nonpartisan review by voting record on bills during the legislative short session. So I want to put a little research a little bit behind this. So why are we doing this? We want to choose specific voting records and attendance. It's critical for creating a scorecard, and it's for objectivity, and it can reveal true priorities. We hear in the news the legislator says, I support education or I support this, but does their voting record say it? And if it doesn't, we need to hold them accountable. So why voting record matters? It's objective evidence. We're going to use actual floor votes instead of campaign promises. We're looking at education salaries, school safety, school and if it's education involved, it's a bill that matters. We're gonna filter. There were 600 and something bills in the long session, so all of them are not education related. So these will be education related bills, and we will be able to now track long term trends. So when we have a needs improvement and talk to a legislature, they could actually improve and start voting more favorably to education bills. Or, as in my case, in my district, I had somebody who voted for bills. I ran against her, Tricia Cotham. She is one of the chairs of the Education Committee and Appropriations. And she did not co-sponsor Sound Basic Education that came out today, and she was not at the press conference today. So I could just say that. But I don't have the full list of the people that were there, so hopefully they'll be on the shout out list Friday. Why attendance matters. So some legislatures are actually sick, they're excused. Others don't want to go on the record for or against a hot topic issue, so they don't show up. So in this case, we need our lawmaker to either say yes or no. We need to know. The bottom line, are you with us or what? So attendance is going to matter in this. Now, why this matters is we're trying to throw out attendance in schooling and saying that it doesn't matter, that we can't use it. It's not part of the grade. But I'm just trying to show that yes, it does. You need to be in attendance to fulfill your obligations. And this is just some research I wanted to show down here. On the weekly form, there are some tools, there's some videos, and there's some scorecards. So Ballotpedia has some scorecards, and then there's a healthcare scorecard as well, two of them. So that would be a good resource to look at later. So bills to watch. We are looking at these bills for overrides. These bills right here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of these, they have already been voted on, ratified, were vetoed by our governor, and now are back up for a vote in the U.S. House. If they vote yes and they pass these, they become law. So we have House Bill 87. That is the federal voucher funds. There is rumors that there are rumors that the vouchers, if that bill passes, that a state budget might not be passed. I don't know if that's rumors. I don't know if it's true, but that is very important. And it's federal money that was from an executive order. H Bill 171, that's the DEI for state agencies. SB 50, that's concealed carry without a permit, age 18, freedom to carry in North Carolina. We do have seniors that are 18, so it is kind of an issue, as well as we've had, at least in some urban areas like Charlotte, we've had some violence with guns in our communities, and so that's a concern. North Carolina House Bill 227, eliminate DEI in public education. I just I think everybody knows about this and why we would be concerned about it. So this one, public education, is K through 12, And then the other bill, which is 558, that is for higher ed, like colleges. And then I had to throw this one in there. We haven't been talking about it. I think this is like the sixth time that she put this bill up, House Bill 420. It's called Sound Basic Education for Every Child Act. It was not ratified in the long session. It was referred to the Committee on Rules, and basically, there's a video on this in the podcast. Carolina Forward did it, but if it goes to rules, it's dead. It's not going anywhere. It should have been to an education K-12 committee or appropriations committee. If it goes to rules, that means nothing's going to happen. So we're just keeping our eye if there's some kind of sound basic education, anything that comes through. So on Mondays, there will be a weekly agenda if I have it. So the first week of the short session, there's not a calendar yet, so I couldn't do one, but there is a link for the legislative calendar. What I've noticed in months past is it's usually updated on Friday for the next week, like later on Friday. But it could also change on any minute. It doesn't usually change on the weekends, though it could. During the week, it's very fluid. It could change minute by minute, so you just have to watch. That's why you should probably have the link saved for the YouTube video. The House has a YouTube video, and there's an audio file for the Senate. So you might want to, if you're a person that watches virtually, you might want to have them linked. The calendar usually includes an agenda, so I usually print that off ahead of time. You don't have to. Know that when the day is over, those agendas like go away. So if you're a person that likes to refer to things, you might want to print it out or copy and paste it to a document. Press conferences are live streamed, but they're not archived. If they are, I haven't seen them. So it's pretty important to be there. They appear to be important as usually if there's a bill coming up, that's probably why there's a press conference. It's probably one of the sponsors of a bill. And the media is usually present. So if an education bill sponsor is having a press conference, that is a very, very good day to be in person. So if this ever happens again, or we like know that there's a person who's sponsoring education, um, healthcare, anything education, we should probably make arrangements to have some educators there, like at least 100. I mean, I don't know if we could do like counties take turns and like their locals just go flood the zone on those days. We really need to get more organized about covering these press conferences. And here's some tools. Carolina Forward, Follow the Money. If you go to that website, you can track all campaign funding and PAC and everything there. We'll give you a tip. Some individuals are part of corporations. So if you see individuals, especially large amounts of 1,500, 2,000, 6,400, I think 64, 65, somewhere that's the limit of individuals, it's really interesting. And it also includes local races. There's a video on explaining the North Carolina legislature for Carolina Forward. Public Schools First has great research. This is the North Carolina PTA. They're a great resource. We really need to get involved with them more if you're not already. North Carolina School Report Cards. That's kind of where I got some of this from, just looking at it. NC is a great resource. And then we have some school district info. Bills to watch. I think I showed you the slide. If not, I'll show you it again. The new bills will appear on the main page. So the calendar, if the bill is voted on, the votes will be recorded. If you go to the House or the Senate page, the votes for the education scorecard they will earn stickers or high scores on that bill. No votes will be an action item on a Friday. So if someone votes against education, we're going to talk about it on Friday. Remember, not passing a North Carolina budget means the North Carolina General Assembly is not proficient for the week. They are not proficient. It's unsatisfactory. Now, again, that's still a 60. If it was our kids, it would still be a 60. And the report card, they'd still be able to go to the next grade. And that's exactly what happened last year. They were unsatisfactory. Most of them kept their jobs and won their primaries. And they're back again. And we're not any better. So, just saying. Educators will reach out for feedback and tutoring. Right now, it's me. There might be others, and I might reach out for feedback online. I might do it email. If it's Trish, I'm probably gonna invite her somewhere local. So I was dying to see her during all the town halls when I ran against her in the primary. I did not actually get in the room not once with her because I wasn't even allowed in the meetings. I was disavowed. So, yeah, apparently being pro public education is too left. I don't know, whatever. Um, I think that it would have been great for us to really just talk about education and ideas. And I'm really hoping that this just gets people talking. No matter what party you are or where you come from, we care about kids and safety and all the things. So, that's what I kind of hope. Monday just kind of get you set. This is what's going on. This is what's popping. This is what's shaking, happening. Okay, y'all. So Wednesdays. I know I put it red on here, but I am so tired of being red on Wednesdays. I'm excited to do something different. This is called Whistle Wednesday. And shout out. We're whistling because you're good, but we also whistling because something's going on. So if you got a whistle, there's a Google form that you're going to click. I'll show you. There's a later slide that'll show you, and I'll do a video on it. But you click on the Google form. It'll have like some information. It'll have the podcast where you can click. The feedback, I will be giving it to social media. I'll be on social media. I'll be emailing, because teaching, I need the weekends to do some homework. So that'd be my homework for the weekends. Upon further review, I will try to put them in safety, building, funding, housing, income, insurance. There might be other topics I haven't even thought of. Who knows? This is the first time we're doing this. So, shout outs. This could be, and there's a little golden apple I made, a little sticker badge thing I can send out. Shout outs. This could be to colleagues, educators, legislators, community organizations. The shout outs are education focused because this is an education scorecard. Um, so, and then we will share out on Fridays. I kind of made a little template. North Carolina General Assembly. I probably will use the Apple sticker for everybody unless I get a different, better one for the legislature. So I'm hoping that my whistles and shout outs are either even or I get like 70% shout outs and like 30% whistles. I don't know. It's up to you. The Google form is anonymous, so if you don't feel comfortable, um, it's supposed to be set up so you could include video and like pictures, or just type something. So we'll see. Again, this first time I'm doing this. I might have to update the form. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. You guys will give me feedback. And thank you. All right, so thank God it's Friday. Don't we usually say that? Anyway, upon further review, so this is a review, this is feedback day, it's a progress report time for NCGA. And no, I'm not doing it every 4 weeks because that would be kind of too late. They move fast during the week. They have a short session, and this is short. So it's every week. There's going to be shout outs. There's going to be a link in the first slide of week 1. And there's going to be Wednesday whistles. And then the progress report, I'll have the first progress report and the first link. And there'll be a podcast video. I'm trying to get some of my educator on the ballot friends or off the ballot. We're off the ballot now. None of us won. But I'm trying to get them to sit with me and do a podcast. We'll see. I can be convincing. Or maybe I can get some legislators to be in a podcast. I don't know. I'm not limiting. So there'll be some kind of podcast video. Again, it's the first time we're doing this. I don't know what to expect. North Carolina budget passed. Remember, if not, they need improvement. It's 60%, but wait, isn't 60% passing in North Carolina? Exactly. They didn't have a budget last year, and they got promoted to the next year. Our current North Carolina grading system makes it almost impossible to fail. Not that we want to fail children. Not that we want our legislatures to fail. We want progress, and we want results, and we want all the things. Like, we want our kids to be able to read great, be able to compute, be able to think critically and deeply. And let's be real, if I'm going to choose to be on social media or play games or study, I'm probably gonna play games because I'm a kid. I don't know. And my friends want me to tell off my teacher or do a TikTok challenge, and I get no consequences, then I'm probably gonna do the TikTok challenge because my friends are pretty cool and they're fun and I laugh and I love my teacher and she's probably gonna forgive me anyway, or he, whoever. So perhaps we should have higher academic standards and attendance standards and behavior standards, and give support. No, we need to give support, ACEs, counseling. There's a lot of things we can think outside the box and do, and feedback. And for teachers, we have to have planning time to give feedback, like, because these videos take time. I actually had surgery on my foot, so I have time to make these videos. But if I didn't have time, I wouldn't be able to have made all this because I would be working 10 hours a day, coming home and trying to eat, maybe exercise or do something for myself and work a second job. So I'm just saying, I probably need to be quiet now. So that's Friday, and then we're gonna roll into week one. And I'm trying to keep everything on this slide. I had a professor that kept everything on one PowerPoint, and I thought that it was very helpful. So for this short session, this will be the format of it. Trying to keep myself organized. If it doesn't work, give me feedback, and the next time we do a session, it could be organized differently. And thank you for following me and following with the scorecard process. Okay, here we go. Week one rolling in. I was excited last Friday. Checked the calendar, said nothing was brewing, except we knew we were in session on Tuesday. Checked it Saturday, checked it Sunday. I checked it Monday like 3 times. I guess I didn't check it late enough because somebody said that it was up, but I actually got up at like 6 or 7 this morning and I checked it. And they kind of were successful because if it would have been up yesterday, I may have been try to hitch a ride to Raleigh, but because I really wanted to be here and do this stuff, I stayed. So that said, legislative calendar. Remember, this side's the same legislative calendar, and then bills to watch. Remember, for this session, we have bills that we were watching from last session. New bills will appear on the main page. If a new bill is voted on, this will be recorded. Will be shared out on Friday. You can do a whistle on it if it really gets you. You can do a whistle on Whistle Wednesday or Shout Out Wednesday. Maybe the vote's really good and we have a lot to celebrate um, this week. But as far as Monday, I really had nothing to report and it was really frustrating for week one anyway. Oh, and I did hear that Berger said if the federal voucher gets through that they might not pass a budget. And I really hope not because we need health care and we need the highway in Charlotte. The 77 highway thing is really getting people upset. There was a big meeting today about that uptown. So we'll see. Okay, so here we are, week one, bills to watch, veto overrides. Got our little glasses on. I remember those 6 bills. Leandro, oh my God, last week I didn't even mention this other slide. I can't even deal with it. Leandro got thrown out, and the Supreme Court said that the legislature, North Carolina legislature, need to do its job. So I put sound basic education on here, HB 420. Even though it's in the rules committee, I'm like Hail Marying that somebody, hopefully Julie Vaughn, and I'm terrible about pronouncing her last name, so when I meet her, I'm gonna have her say it. I want to say Van, like Vaughn. My last name was Vaughn. I don't know if she was German or what. Like part of my family came from Germany. I mean, I have like German and Spanish. Yes, I know. I don't look it, but and Native American and French and Dutch German. So, and probably a little bit of other stuff. Um, anyway, I just think her initials VH. I'm VH. So anyway, if you see this YouTube, you really should watch it. It's really, really good and explains and gives ideas for teachers and how we can stay engaged with our legislature. So we'll see if these bills go through. These are bills we're going to watch. If there's a vote, these will be some that we will look at. Um, and I try to go through 600 and some odd bills from long session, but I'll be honest, That was a lot. It was like thousands and thousands of pages. So I did the best I could, pick these out, and the next long session we'll have a list and we'll have, better recording, and we're just starting from here. Hey y'all, today was busy. So if you haven't noticed, I did a lot of these videos today because I was trying to set up the social media page, the Facebook page. I ended up having to set up a YouTube podcast playlist today because Facebook blocked me. Somebody reported me being a fake or a fraud or something. I don't know. I find it funny. But so that said, I now have a YouTube podcast. I'll upload videos and content there. So I did tape the two press conferences. There were two. One was Sound Basic Education with Julie. I call her Julie because like she's my neighbor. She knows me or something. I should call her by her last name, but I also need to know how to pronounce her last name. So the podcast is here. You could click on the link if you got the file. Um, add. You can feel free to follow and share my podcast. Oral Health and Public Education, I just watched that because it was there. It actually was really, really informative of the state of healthcare. Um, and of course, the six bills were on the agenda. There was no like agenda paper when I looked this morning. But I did notice later in the morning, like right before the press conference, that we got a new House Bill 1017 by Julie. And she has some co sponsors now. Earlier in the day, they didn't have them all listed. But there is a new Sound Basic Education bill. It was not talked about in the House. I did not sleep. I know I was awake, but it was not talked about. So, House members, that is unsatisfactory that it wasn't mentioned. Now, in the Senate, oh, by the way, the House had 20 new bills and the Senate has 40. The both sessions were late. The House session started 40 minutes late, and if you've tried to tune in the last 4 months, the House will come on and it'll be done within like 30 seconds. So when it didn't come on after 10 minutes, I was getting worried. So then I called at like 20 minutes, 22 minutes in, I called the office and they picked right up. And I asked them if they were still meeting or if the feed was not working. And so she called the floor and said, yes, they'll convene shortly. And then when it became 12:42, I'm like, oh God, I totally missed this. So I called them again, and the lady remembered talking to me, but she didn't remember it was me. I said, well, can you please call them again because I really wanted to see this. And she called again, and within like a minute or two, the House started. Um, the Senate didn't meet at 12, but then they did meet at 1:30, and I had a delivery at my house. And then by the time I got back from the door, like it was over. I missed it. I don't know. But the Senate only has audio files, remember? So I will have to see if they post that audio file. It was not there this evening, so I couldn't get it. So I will have to find where that audio file is and load it in the podcast later. But what I did notice, we've got some new bills related to the oral health, and one of the bills is called a Medicaid rebase, and the other one, and it's so small that I can't even read the numbers. Senate Bill 779, Senate Bill 805. They are both calling for millions of dollars, and they're reoccurring funding. So it's not a one item and done, which I like about them. We'll see if that changes. So those are two of the 40. I am looking into seeing the bill was up there and then it wasn't, but there was a bill that was acknowledging that the federal government is getting rid of the State Board of Education. And the wording was really weird. So I really need to dig into that this evening before I really comment on it. And I probably will talk about that tomorrow. But it was a busy first day. And the next I will go over, I'll just read the bills off and we'll just line item it so that we could be ready on Whistle Wednesday and a bill review on Friday. And on the Whistle review or whatever, feel free to let me know if you think these House bill or these medical bills, they convinced me that the medical ties to children because the foster mom and like the parents were saying like the kids couldn't focus in school if their teeth were hurting or if they couldn't go to a doctor. So I was like, oh man, so that means all the health bills too. So I wonder what y'all think. Okay, for the new bills in the House, there are 20 of them. So we got Sound Basic Education for Every Child, Von Hazen, I think. Um, that's HB 1017, so it's not 420, so it's different. So she rewrote it. Then we have something Warren wrote. I would have to read into that about satellite annexations. Then we got a First Responder Tax Fairness Act. We have child wartime vet funds, funds for facilities, pickleball wellness initiative. I need to look at that. Health equity. So I definitely need to look at that. Divine Nine Special Registration Plate Act. Revised North Carolina 529 program, which I need to look into what that is. Um, Mayor Voting Authority, remote instruction for excess emergencies. I don't know if that could be an education bill. I don't know. HB 1026. That might be one we need to look at. Done remove cap on there's another annexations. Harnett County, North Carolina Digital Asset and Stablecoin Act. There it is. Oh my God. What does it say? HUR. Is it HUR or HR? 1030, U.S. Department of Education, Biggs. He's on my you failed. You got a triple, quadruple F. F, Biggs. Yeah, I shouldn't have said all that. Um, Universal free breakfast and lunch. That's definitely a bill for our scorecard. So that's 1031. And so is 1030. Um, Repeal 2% grocery tax. Hmm. Dental board reform. Looks like the House and the Senate have two bills that are similar. Town of Stanley amendment merger and something about voting in Pink Hill. But I will read all of these tomorrow. Just today was really over, like a lot. This is a lot of bills. So, and I had off today, so I don't know how people who work can keep up with all this stuff. I go back to work after my surgery on Tuesday, so I will hopefully get us off running, and I hope they do a lot of bills this week so I can keep you all. So, on the Senate side, we have 40 new bills. Now, the first one, Medicaid rebase with Adcock, she did a press conference today. And so 779 and 780, they are both trying to get money and things back into our healthcare system. It looks like 781 is a health insurance premium tax credit. I didn't get to read all that yet. That was Bradley. Safe Schools Transparency Act. So 782, that will definitely be a bill to watch. School Mental Health Support Act, 783. Ensure same-sex domestic violence protective order, that's 784. Opt into student health, that's 785. So that's another education bill. Protect North Carolina prosperity and health. Bradley was busy. Look at all these Bradleys. Okay. AI ethics and literacy across education. So that's definitely an education bill. Guarding Freedoms and Public Safety Act. Homes for Heroes, that might have educators in it. I got to look at it closely. Small Business Capital Improvement Account. Enhanced penalty for domestic violence strangulation. Kayla's Act for protecting domestic violence victims. Right to IVF. And North Carolina Victims of Crime Assistance Act. And then 795, modified taxation of 1031 exchanges. 793, compact to award prizes for curing disease. And hands-free North Carolina, that probably has to do with our cell phones, but I do need to read it more. All right, Senate bills 21 through 40. So one of my favorites on here from a charlatan, Senate Bill 798, elderly property tax appreciation exclusion. She was in the room when I had a meltdown, and not a meltdown really, maybe an outburst about a property tax increase. There's talk about amendment about property taxes, and so I was in a meeting where they were talking about there might be another property tax, and they didn't want the amendment, and why we didn't need the amendment, and then both sides were going back and forth, and I was like, I don't care what y'all are saying, I just don't want another property tax increase anytime soon. And they were like, why? And I was like, well, because of the elder, like, there's people that can't afford these property taxes. It's not just older people, so it says elderly, so I don't know if it's going to be for any of us. Restore state employee, teacher retiree, medical benefit, state employee. I gotta see if that's for the new coming in or what. I just gotta look at that. So that's definitely $7.99. Zero-based budgeting. That's interesting. Protect special ops forces. No doxing. That is a probably border patrol ICE bill. 802 agency vacant property. I kind of like that one because that's I think when people try to take over your house if you're not there or on vacation or whatever. But I don't know. I gotta read it. Beaufort District, B occupancy tax, Fair Maps Act. I'm interested in that one. There's Bradley again. Is Bradley a lawyer? I gotta look this up. Adcock, increase oral health care access in North Carolina. So that's 3 bills she has for medical. No budget, no pay act. Oh yeah, that's 806. That's not an education bill, but I like it. Mayfield, restore down zoning authorization. Gailey, Board of Cosmetic Art Examiners amendments. There's a satellite. So it must be something with satellite annexation because we saw similar in the House. So even in your municipal election of Catawba, there's another satellite annexation. So we got to see how similar these annexations are to the House bills. I mean that's not an education probably, but I was just wondering. Tax fraud analytics funding. North Carolina Economic Forecasting Initiative. Nathaniel Denny, Department of IT, Constitutional Amendment permanently carry. Remember, permanentless carry was SB 50, and people started to know about it. And they haven't voted on it, and then now we have Senate Bill 815. So I gotta see how that's the same or different than Senate Bill 50 that the governor vetoed. Senate Bill 816, crime of wartime vets, scholarship funds, and flex. So that also is a lot like a Republican bill. So that seems like that might be something. And then we've got another annex property thing. So those are the bills. I do not see sound basic education in a Senate form. But I could be wrong. I need to read all these and see if they slip something in somewhere. Yeah, whistle. Oh my god, I used to be able to. Is that something you lose when you get older? My kids would be so disappointed, my students. Okay, so apparently I can't whistle. I'm gonna need to get a whistle. Okay, so whistle and shout out. There's a Google form. I will put it on social media. It's not Wednesday yet because it's Tuesday, but I kind of wanted to practice because I'm gonna be reading a lot of bills tomorrow. So whistle Wednesday. There is a bill in motion to accept the dissolution of the Federal Department of Education. Yeah, that's a big whistle. Second whistle. The North Carolina budget was not discussed on the North Carolina House floor on 421. I don't know about the Senate because it went by so fast, like 3 seconds, and then the other one was I don't know, maybe I was at the door longer than I thought, but I can't report on the Senate because I don't know. It does not have a live video feed. Why don't they have a video feed? There's only 50 of them. There's way more. There's got to be a reason why Senate doesn't have a video feed and only audio. I'm not sure, but I want to whistle about it. Um, There were empty seats in the Sound Basic Education press conference, which I noticed. I don't know if it's because people didn't want to get too close or I don't know the setup of the room, but it kind of looked eh. And then I was reading an article later on it, and they were like 2 dozen educators were outside, with the outdoor press conference. I mean, I didn't go either. I mean, I am learning how to walk again with my foot. Um, but it seems to me that we put a lot of, talk on May 1st. Maybe we need to roll to these things by county and at least have, a consistent effort of like hundreds of teachers just keep showing up, keep showing up, keep showing up. I don't know. But we can't call in all the time, so we'd have to have it organized so it's like in waves by county. We have 100 counties in North Carolina. There's only 180 days in a year, so you figure if we figure out what counties are organized and organizations, I'm sure we can figure that part out. Anyway, shout outs. I should have started with shout outs. That was not very capturing heart of me. Okay, so shout outs. Both past conferences were awesome. Like, I thought they were awesome. I was engaged. Um, they gave you very good tips. The students were so well spoken. I was so proud of them. The doctors that were there, the hygienist, the dentist, the parents. The one parent, Maria, she kind of made me tear up a little bit. Um, there was a vote on House Bill 832, and so the bill was to like throw it in the, get rid of the bill. And so one person stood up against it. I have to research it because the voting record wasn't available earlier, so I don't know who it was. But one person stood up against the whole house, so that was pretty amazing. The Red, White, and Blue petition, the organization and all those that filled out the petition, it went to the legislators today. They were busy going all over the place, meeting with legislators. I don't know the final number. I do need to email them so I don't know how many people signed the petition, but I do know they wanted to take 3,000 signatures, and at one point, like over the weekend, it was like 1,400, then it was 1,800, and the last time I knew, it got up to like it was above 2,000, but it wasn't three. And I know we have a lot of educators in the state, so I guess that's a whistle too. When we get a petition going around to support public schools, if we can all sign it, it doesn't matter like what organization you're with. If it's for public education, it would be great if we could all support that organization. And if you don't know about the organization, find out about it. It doesn't mean you're part of them. They're just signing a petition to take and say, hey, this many people in North Carolina support public education and what we're doing. So anyway, and all of over the 100, there was 100 people at one point on the North Carolina House session that were trying to watch online, and a lot of them stayed to like minute 36. And when they started dropping off is when I called the second time to see if it was going on. So those of you who are tuning in on your lunch break today, I appreciate it because there were many of you that were tuning in on your lunch break because 12 o'clock is like lunchtime. Shouldn't have said that. They might figure that out. As well as the patient secretary that called. She did not, she's on a very chipper. She was not mad when I called back the second time. Be like, hey, are you sure they're meeting today? So I am all caught up and I will report in with you again. This is the Wednesday Whistle. The Google form will be sent out on the podcast link as well as on the Facebook page. And I'll put it on some Teachers United and on Teachers in Action so that you can access it. And I hope this was helpful. This is my first week. It's like the first week of school. Um, and the first time. Just know, y'all, we're in this together. And thank you for your engagement.